Athens is really great. There's beautiful landscaping, it's super pedestrian friendly, and there's tons of bike lanes. Plus, there's new construction everywhere you go. Yeah, it's really awesome. Well, until you get past campus. Streets aren't as walkable, and low-income housing starts popping up everywhere. If you go past downtown, that's when civilization really starts to die down. Factories and parking lots replace houses and shops. It's basically impossible to go anywhere without having a car. And the nearest food might be a gas station, if you're lucky.
Okay, so let's just start with, tell us a little bit about what Campus Kitchen here really does. Like, what's the main
what we really do, and that's what we tell people we do.
Yes.
Campus Kitchen's a food recovery and redistribution enterprise. We take food that would be thrown away or would be donated to a food bank, and we believe our model puts food to its highest use through two main applications. One is that we're transforming food from scratch. We get a lot of raw ingredients, as you know, from Trader Joe's. So we take that stuff and we transform it into healthy meal kits while it's still usable, and do a little bit of sorting to make grocery bags. We know that our clients are getting a balanced meal, and they're getting it in a form that their family really enjoys, that's nutritionally balanced, and that's relatively similar to what they would get from going to shop at the grocery store.
Why do you focus on older caregivers or seniors in particular?
Yeah, at the time that Campus Kitchen was starting, there was an interest in doing something about on and off campus food waste. There was a service learning course that was doing a needs assessment with the program at the Council on Aging. That's our main partner now, the Grandparents Raising Grandchildren program. And in the needs assessment, they found that 78% of the families that are in this caregiver program are food insecure. And so that was really shocking for the agency to find out, and it kind of became the natural fit that we wanted to spotlight. Older adults face a couple of particular challenges to their food security. I like to think of food security as having there are three pillars of food insecurity: access, affordability, and appropriateness. Older adults have trouble, I think, particularly with those access, because they might not have a car as an asset. You may be physically impaired so that you can't drive yourself to the grocery store, or can't take your 8 shopping bags of food. We don't want to design an intervention that doesn't take those things into account. On the national level, senior hunger is an area that doesn't really, that's not really getting a lot of attention. It's an issue that we are going to have to wrestle with as a society in the next couple of years as the baby boomers continue to enter retirement, and we face a lot of societal challenges to meeting the food security needs of older adults.
Not everything in Clarke County is run down, though. There are parts with beautiful new houses that look like they were either just built or just renovated. A good chunk of them are also massive. It seems like there's a good amount of money and income in Clarke County, but then why is there an overwhelming amount of food insecurity? We drove to the Athens WIC location to get some answers. Oh, and this liquor store was the only food source within walking distance of the housing around WIC.
How have you witnessed food insecurity in Clarke County?
Working at the WIC clinic has been illuminating to see the face of food insecurity. Definitely, I grew up in this community and went to public school, so the majority of the kids were on free and reduced lunch. It was there, you knew about it, but having clients behind a closed door talking about personal things, it definitely becomes you kind of start to learn what the narrative is. I think a lot of times we witness food insecurity, not just with the extreme cases that I think a lot of time you imagine with being homeless, not having a dime to your name, so much as the people who are able to get adequate calories in their diet, but they're not nutrient dense. We have a question on our screening form that asks, are you able to provide enough food for you and your family, basically? And I have maybe once seen that checked as no. They're not having to skip meals. the nutrients of those meals are not as dense as they really need to be for, especially in these life stages, these important life stages of pregnancy and breastfeeding and children under age 5.
Are there any other resources within Clarke County, apart from WIC and food stamps maybe, that you can identify to like help people dealing with food insecurity?
I think Clarke County has a long way to go with addressing food insecurity. I mean, there's definitely a lot of people out there working towards those ends. The food banks are part-time, restrictive. I know one that you can only go to, I think, 2 times a year. So they're not really set up to be emergency resources. Another one, you need a referral, for example, to the food bank, which is not particularly hard to obtain, but they can't just show up at the door. I'm not an expert on the food banks, but I just know that we don't have a lot of people who are able to access them. WIC does strive to reduce barriers to being on the WIC program, but with any government program, there's a lot of bureaucracy, and we do our best to both abide by the policies and bring as many people in and keep the wait times down and process people and respect their time. But sometimes we have all of the issues that come with bureaucratic system, and it can be lengthy, and there can be computer problems and staffing issues and all of the above that can kind of get in the way of being able to make it as efficient as it could be. School-aged children, that their nutrition is suffering, then their learning is suffering. I think it is just a domino effect. Like, I just think about those kids who, if they're already behind by the time they get to school,
Right.
that's
And then
gonna
like in the
affect
long term
their graduation.
crime rates and like dropping out of high school
Exactly. Doing well in school. What's the point? I'm not supported for whatever reason that people, it's multifactorial obviously, but if they're not able to thrive in school.
Do you have any other experiences or information from your perspective on, or anything else that you would like to share, like regarding food insecurity here?
WIC does get funding based on how many people are coming in the door and signing up for the program. So if our numbers fall, we don't have as many people applying for the program or coming back for their appointments, then we can't get that federal funding. We lose out on it. It's something that's come along as a problem over the past 6 months to a year. I've been here 2 years, and when I started, it was, I mean, you would never have a day like this where there's nobody in the waiting room. Our monthly caseload numbers are dipping, and it's not just in our clinic. We, of course, have had efforts to revive those numbers, but it's something that is more of a national trend. It's not just our county or district or state, it's really a national trend. And some of it is just going to be related to the economy. Employment numbers are up, though I think the majority of our people are working people, working mothers, working families. But some of it definitely seems to have to do with the sentiment and fearfulness in this country for people coming in who might not be citizens. And WIC doesn't ask about citizenship, but there's a lot of fearfulness in the media that people aren't taking that chance. So they might be in a food insecure situation, but the risk feels too great to come in and be able to receive benefits to feed their family. That fear is too great, and they'll actually come in and request to be terminated or just fall off the program because they fear that it might affect getting citizenship later on or put them and their family in risk of deportation. Or some of this is speculation, but we do have a lot of people coming in saying exactly that, telling us, no, I heard on the news that if I get WIC now, I might not be able to get citizenship, and maybe they're here as a student or on a visa or something. But it's sad that those people are having to remain in a more food insecure place.
Do you know where like the nearest grocery store is, or like what is?
Yeah, there's definitely a food desert like right here. We're in the middle of one. Some of our participants use the bus, but let's get real. Like, if you have a small infant child and the bus might come every hour, and if it doesn't, if you miss this one, you're waiting out there too. I mean, people that take the bus in this town, they spend 2 hours each way, even if they're not going very far. That's ridiculous. So if you can't, the grocery store might not be very far in terms of mileage, but if you don't have a car or reliable transportation, it's a world away. I mean, it might as well be. CVS accepts WIC, so they can go to that. They have things like milk, formula, so they can redeem their vouchers there. But if all I can do is get to the CVS and I have this voucher and it has milk and cheese and eggs, but all they have at this particular vendor is the milk, then I might just have to cash that in and forego all the rest of the stuff on that voucher.
We were able to find a Family Dollar near WIC and decided to check it out. Most of the items were junk foods like chips and cookies and frozen meals, but we were able to find some decent food like nuts, canned fruits, oats, canned vegetables, rice, and canned meats. But if you couldn't drive to this location, it'd be at least a mile of walking for you to get your groceries. We decided to do a little more digging on food pantries and came across Sparrow's Nest.
Everything in the building's free. You don't have to pay for anything at all. And that goes for like our clothes closet, laundry, showers, everything like that.
wow.
There's a couple food banks. 3 different churches in town do food banks. We do food bags every single Friday. That's when we hand them out. Some churches only do them the 1st and the 4th Saturday. Some will do maybe once a month. But there are a few different places in town.
So a food bag is like you like package up food that they can take home with them for the weekend?
Yeah, I can actually open one of these for you. So since we work with the food bank of Northeast Georgia, we have to keep track of every single can we put in every bag to give to anyone ever.
Oh, wow.
Because since they're giving us food to give to people, we have to make sure that we're giving it to people who need it. So what you'll get is a few canned vegetables. And we try to vary it a little bit just so it's not like 3 cans of green beans.
Right.
We try to do a can of meat and rice, and then we throw in something sweet.
Oh,
if we have enough drinks to give out to everybody, we try to. If we don't have enough to give out in every single bag, we'll have some drinks to the side when we're giving out bags so people can kind of grab them. This could be 2 meals for one person, 1 meal for 2 people. And it's 1 bag for every 2 people in a household. So the paperwork you fill out when we give a food bag will say how many people you have in your household that this is going to. If it's 2 people in your household, you get 1 bag. If it's 4, you'll get 2. If it's 3, you'll get 2. We always round up. Not having food to put on your table is a stressor. A very major one, especially if you have kids to feed. If you don't have enough food, you're not going to have energy to do anything. If you don't have food, it's going to make you much quicker to anger. If you also don't have money for food, you're not going to have money for medicine. You're not going to have money for transportation, for clothes, anything like that. Because food is such a priority that if you don't have money for that, you probably don't have money for anything else.
Yeah.